Welcome to This Week in Vexly. Starting off, we will review last week's trade ideas. Starting with Dash, we liked it as a short due to the short signal from the market maker model along with it being close to a short on Pluto. We never got that short signal from Pluto, so no trade, but we did see plenty of opportunities to scalp. Dash was down 2.6% from Monday's open to low of week. Next, we liked FSLR as a long due to the market maker signal. We also liked how the gamma profile was showing that 200 would pull price up due to the option mechanics of the market. From Monday's open to high of week, FSLR was up 5.9%. Looking back at last week, we'll recap on what we saw with the Fed action and liquidity. We saw CB swaps continue on their downward trend, and nothing new to report with overnight repo auctions. But just like the Fed's decision to pause rate hike for this month, we also saw a pause in the Fed balance sheet. This is interesting due to the spot the balance is at compared to where they started buying assets in March. Looking at weekly returns now, we just saw the fifth week in a row of positive returns between the three major indices. Like we mentioned last week, prior periods with these returns see a reversion to the mean. We aren't calling for a complete correction, but a pullback or chop up here seems more reasonable than going higher. Moving on, let's look at our heat maps from Friday. We will be sharing the heat maps for NQ, IWM, ES, and SPXW. Please feel free to pause the video and look closely at some areas of interest that could be important for next week. Here is also an example from a fellow trader in the Vexly Discord. This is a great example of the edge gained from the heat map to preform a timely trade at the end of the day. Like he mentioned, the spike in negative gamma was a huge tell that price had a higher likelihood of falling into the close. Now moving on to our next segment, here are the trade ideas for this week. Starting off, we like Barber as a short going into the week. It was short on the market maker model on Friday. But Pluto is currently neutral, which we will be watching this week. Looking at our gamma profile, we can see 90 is a big level for positive and some negative positioning. This makes us to believe that 90 will act as a magnet for the week, as long as positioning doesn't roll any higher. Next, looking at our Vanna profile, we want to note the peak positive position is set at 100 and peak negative is set at 85. Scrolling down to our skew model, P1 skew is slightly negative, and here are the seasonal weekly returns. The next 3 weeks in a row is typically a weak time for Alibaba and is something to note. Lastly, looking at our VX levels, we can see 92 has been a spot of consolidation. Want to see that break this week. Next, we like Bill as a long due to the long signal on the market maker model, along with being long on Pluto. Looking at our gamma profile, we can see large positive positioning at 115 and 120 and a large negative position at 105, which should act as support. Looking at the Vanna profile, we can see the peak positive is at 120 and peak negative is at 105. Our P1 skew is positive for the week, meaning most positioning is in calls. And here is the weekly seasonality for Bill. Lastly, looking at our VX levels, there isn't much to mention, but we did see some above average volume on this name at the end of the day Friday. To recap, we are cautious with any longs up here and want to see some consolidation or pull back for a larger move higher. Fed liquidity remains poor and not much of a help in the market currently, but we are monitoring this closely. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.